What's up, everybody out there? ODC here, and I'm back with another action figure review. Today's going to be a twofer. It's the Trooper packs that are pretty much an online exclusive, as far as I know. It's the Phase 2 and Battle Droid Troopers pack, and then the Rebel Trooper and Stormtrooper 2-pack. I tend to really lean towards stuff like this. This is stuff that we probably should have got, I'm going to say, years ago. Hasbro has kind of done this with Pulse exclusives, with, you know, Marvel Legends and such, which I think they underproduced a lot of those. Like, I still don't know why we don't have more Skrull troop builders. Those should be in a 2-pack like this, where you get a little bit of variation between them. But I gotta say, for the most part, this is really great for the Black Series. If you are low on troopers, like especially Stormtroopers, the new body style Stormtrooper, I would say that this is definitely a must for you. I know the Rebel Trooper kind of went up and has been fluctuating in price. So it's good that you can get both in one, and it actually makes sense thematically. The same thing goes for the Clone Wars 2-pack. I really do quite like this a lot. So you got the Clone Wars theme on the left, and then on the right you've got the A New Hope 2-pack for the troopers. And like I said, I do quite like this. It makes sense for troop building. I'm not super heavy on troop building, but I do like, at least, I want to say for the most part, I probably have more clone troopers than anything out of any sort of troop builder. And I want to say for Stormtroopers, it's probably a close second with them, and then the droids, and then the Rebel Troopers. But I do love me some Rebel Troopers. I just kind of wish that maybe they would have thrown in one extra head, interchangeable head for the Rebel Trooper. We kind of got stuck with the same guy's head, and I've been doing like head swaps with Marvel Legends, and actually a line that works really well for the Rebel Trooper. Let me get my pointer here. Rebel Trooper is the Lightning Collection, the civilian heads. Actually fit the bodies perfectly, and they fit the pegs usually pretty well. Worst case scenario, use a little bit of blue tack, black tack, sticky tack, whatever you want to use for it. But this is a nice set. Comes in these smaller boxes, which I actually thought they were going to be larger. Let me just move everybody to the side. And I'm actually surprised my B1 Battle Droid is actually standing as long as he has, because they're probably one of the tougher figures to get to stand. And usually I don't have too much of an issue getting things to stand, but the B1s are by far some of the most notorious for falling over and knocking everybody else over. Let me just remove him and get him out of the shot. Here's I normally don't go over packaging, but I thought this was actually pretty intelligent. This is plastic-free packaging. Now, this makes sense for plastic-free packaging, I think. It's got a nice depiction of both kind of facing each other. Very small packaging. It opens up just like so, and you can see I took all the stuff out, but it really made sense for smaller packaging, and maybe that's why these cost a lot less. These were $44.99 a piece, and I really only wanted to get one each, and that's good enough for me. I already have a bunch of the Rebel Troopers, Stormtroopers, B1 Battle Droids, but I don't have a lot of the newer 2023 body for the Phase 2 Clone Troopers. So maybe it has me a little bit more towards the 2023 Clone Trooper, but maybe I want to get maybe one more just to have one more of the regular bodies. But let's bring the figures back in, and we'll talk about them. So first, I'll talk about the Clone Wars set. And I think this is a pretty solid set. I mean, it's nothing too crazy. He's on the 2023 body, and this is the B1 battle droid that we've had for years now. I want to say he's, oh God, I'm trying to think, maybe 2019, 2020 he came out, but don't quote me on that. It's probably incorrect. But as far as their accessories do go, the Clone Trooper comes with this rifle and this rifle, as we're pretty much used to seeing with most basic Clone Trooper bodies. And then the B1 battle droid comes with this backpack attachment and this backpack attachment, where I guess the antenna can pop out. It's like I said, it's nothing really that we haven't seen before. There's a lot less paint apps on the B1 battle droid as opposed to the single carded release for him, and I think that's just due to making the pack a lot cheaper. So he's kind of pretty much all plastic except for the eyes and the antennas that are painted. But there's no like scorching or anything like that going on with him. And I am shocked that he is actually standing this long. But let's talk about the B1 battle droid. I think it's kind of the way that, this is probably my least impressed figure. I think that's kind of maybe the hindering of articulation and range of motion is just due to the design of the actual character. They could have re-engineered these hips a little bit more, maybe to get him at a little bit of a wider stance, just to hold himself up a little bit better, because he wants to pinch, his legs want to do this constantly and pinch in. And also the feet are, I don't know, I guess a little bit, I know they're probably in proportion with the design, but they're kind of like arcing up, and they have a little bit of a heel here. I feel like if the feet were just flat, it might help him stand a lot easier. I mean, he'll stand, but the ankles, at least like there's like little detense ratchets, and it's kind of like you want it in between where it's ratcheting. You almost want it like right there, but it's not going to stay for too long. It'll stay for a little bit, but eventually it'll want to find that detense and pop back in there, and then he's either going too forward or too far back. So that's I guess a point of contention for me. I'm not a big fan of the feet, the ankles, or the hips. That's a big problem, I think, with this figure. He'll stand, but it's kind of like a ticking time bomb. It's kind of like General Grievous. Like, you can get him to stand, and he will stand, but it's only a matter of time before he falls and knocks everybody else over. So for the most part, in my collection, he's probably my least favorite to actually display, because they're just not all that fun as a figure. Once I kind of get him into a balanced stance, I usually try to keep him there, and that's about it. They're not very fun to play around with or use that much. You can get him into that crouching stance. And if you do have the backpack on, just like the original figure, you do have a little plug right on the side of the backpack right here, where you can actually plug the rifle in. There's a little peg right here on the side of the rifle, and you can plug it right into the side of the backpack for storage. I would assume most people are using this backpack, but that's another problem with the figure's balance. And that's why I gave him this lighter one on his back. It does throw off the balance of the figure, because you have a little bit more of a heavier backpack attached to his back, and it just plugs right into his back like so. The rifle plugs in just like that. And that's pretty much it as far as storage goes. Most people probably want to have him with the backpack. But like I said, he does end up becoming a little bit back heavy. You can neutral pose him. It's not too much of an issue. The other thing that kind of bugs me about the figure, while it's a well sculpted figure and for the most part a aesthetically pleasing look figure, the neck, like there's detents in the neck where it's like bam and then bam. You heard that big click. you're either getting the neck to look way, way down in that crouching pose. You can move I call them ears, but they're probably not called that. You can move these up and down if you want to. You can kind of have them like that, like, oh no. But that was just the gun falling off. But I mean, you can have them way back. I think you can pull out the head. It's just pegged in, and it's got a really long peg. And I don't remember the original one having such a long peg. I remember it kind of coming out in my original review, but a little bit easier. But yeah, I mean, he's simple as far as his articulation does go. His head can swivel. Let me just get the antenna down. And with the other one, you can't really put the antenna down. It's kind of just fixed. So there's no adjusting that like the backpack. But his head can swivel. There is a little peg joint on the top of the head, and it just pegs right in. He can look up about that far, and he can look down. Actually, if you use the neck, he can look that far down all the way, so you can get him real crunched in. You do have articulation hinge right here for the back of the head, and then you have this hinge joint right here, and it's pegged into the body. Next up, you have arms that can go up about that far, and I think that's perfectly adequate as far as what that's going on. And then let's see if he's he's definitely got jive turkeys. He's got so there's lots of turkeys there. Single jointed elbow, which is more than 90 degrees, which is nice. He does have a swivel at the wrist and a hinge that goes laterally. No vertical hinge on this figure, unfortunately. They couldn't figure that out as far as engineering. There's a little bit of also paint apps that I didn't point out right here on the pistons for the arms, and also on the abdomen for the bracers, I'll just call it that, the connecting points. But that's essentially it as far as all the paint apps go. He can move a little bit side to side. He can't really pivot. There's not a lot of waist twist there. There's a little bit of movement. He can crunch forward a little bit. He can crunch back a little bit. So there's a little bit of movement there. This is all that you can do for the splits. This is as far apart as you can go with the legs, which is unfortunate. I think a quick fix would be if they re-engineered the hips where you kind of made a little slot right here. And I know people probably won't like that because of ruining the sculpting, but it would help being able to get him to do wider stance, and it would help the balance of the figure, I think. The legs can go forward, full rocket right there, and then back, way back. So good articulation there, good range of motion there. He can get the knees all the way up into that crouching stance where he's not activated yet. And then we also have a pointy toe, a pointy heely, ankle pivot, 2 peg holes. He also has a ankle swivel at the top of the ankle right here. So that's pretty nice as far as what you think great articulation and range of motion would be. But it's these hips that are really hindering him quite a bit. So it's kind of a bummer, but the sculpt looks great. Paint apps are mediocre. It's very minimal, but he'll do the job. And let's see if he'll fall over while I'm talking about the Clone Trooper, which I'm going to bring in right now. Phase 2 Clone Trooper, my favorite look for the clones. I still like the Phase 1 designs as well, but Phase 2 is, I think, really where it's at. So always been my favorite. Always looked a little bit closer, kind of in between Phase 1 and a Stormtrooper to me. But, you know, he's got really good range of motion. I love this 2023 body. I love the 2020 body still. I don't mind that reuse still. But, I mean, if you've got a brand new body like this is fantastic. I love the fact that the elbow armor can adjust and move. That's fantastic. So you can get it down, you can get it up so it's out of the way. My dogs are barking. The head has really good range of motion, and we have an unmasked head, unlike the 2020 bodies, which kind of had the mask with a unpainted head underneath. So now we actually have a clone head underneath, and I think the head sculpt looks pretty darn good for the head. Somebody must have just got home. The dogs are going crazy. And that's okay. I love my dogs. But yeah, I think the head sculpt looks pretty good. It's pretty much I want to say pretty much the same head sculpt that we've seen with the 2023 body, whether it's Commander Apo or Apo, however you pronounce it, and etc. with all the other 2023 clones. So a little bit of paint apps right here on the chest, which looks good. Minimal as far as the paint apps go. He's mostly a lot of plastic. There's a little bit of, I want to say this is paint on the bottom of the foot. I don't think that's a plastic color, because the plastic color would be white. Plastic. I want to say the black is painted right here, and then plastic for the hip joint. Plastic. So he's very plasticky, but it's not a problem because he's supposed to look this certain way. It's got a nice matte finish to it, which is really nice. As far as his articulation goes, with the helmet off, we'll do a swivel at the head. You can do a full 360 and snap his neck if you want to. Not sure where you would want to do that, but you can. He's on a ball peg joint, a 2 ball peg joint. So you've got a ball peg up here and then a ball peg meeting the chest, which is nice. Could be better. I still wish that we got a little bit of a hinge so we can get him to look further up. That's him looking down, and then tilt side to side, and like I showed, swivel. Now with the helmet on, it's going to be a little bit more hindered. Looking up is about that far. You can get a little bit range of motion looking up by manipulating the helmet to kind of shift, but then you're going to see the bottom of his chin right there, which, you know, it isn't the worst thing in the world, but it is a thing. Looking down about that far, tilt side to side, and you can swivel, so no issues there. Now with the arms are on this is on a floating piece right here, so you kind of have to push this down and pull it up like that. Really good T-joints, or T-pose, excuse me, not T-joints, but T-pose with the arms, and you can get them both synced like that. Pretty much just kind of manipulate it, work it, and it'll go. He does have butterfly joints, which are really fluid, nicely moving. No issues there with the butterfly joints. It's nice that they didn't cut into the sculpt right here, and it still is functional. Next, we have a ab crunch that goes back. We have an ab crunch that goes forward. We have a shimmy side to side, a swivel also. As far as the legs go, the legs can go forward about this far, and you kind of have to twist a little bit to get more range of motion there. And then legs can go back. We do have an upper thigh swivel, a single jointed knee, but it's a really good range of motion. That's pretty much what you need from a single jointed knee, or truly an anatomically correct knee. We see a lot of Marvel Legends that can touch the rear end, but I don't think that's really necessary because, I mean, most humans can't do that naturally. If you really force it and try and kick your rear end, you could do that, but it's not really a natural thing to do, to be able to touch your own rear end with your heel, unless you're like double jointed or whatever. We do have this, like I said, floating knee pad right here, so it helps with better range of motion. You can kind of move it out of the way however you want. If you want it up here, if you want it down here like it's supposed to be, you can do that. Swivel at the knee. We do have a pointy toe right here. We have a pointy heel, ankle pivot, 2 peg holes, and a partridge and a pear tree for both. So good range of motion, much better articulation, range of motion for the Clone Trooper, clearly, and I think that's kind of just, you know, he's got a newer body. If they kind of revitalized and re-engineered him, I think it would work a lot better. He does come with this blaster rifle right here. It's just pretty much a black plastic, which is perfectly fine. Not too crazy there. It can fit right into his hand. So there's that. And he can two-hand the rifle very easily. And he can look down the sights pretty natural. I want to say with this newly tooled body, you can really get him to look down the sights like he's supposed to. Pew, 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 pew. Maybe his shoulder's a little bit high there, but there you go. So that's nice. And then for the other one, it's right here. Like I said, just black plastic as far as that's concerned. Nothing too insane there. We've all seen these sculpts numerous times. These have been used since the Clone Troopers. Really, I mean, we got the old bodies. So you can have him look down the sights as well. So there's no issue. You can have him posed with it down, kind of casual, tilt the head, and he's looking this way or this way, whatever you want to do, straight on. So he can pose nicely. I mean, there's a lot that you can do with this guy. A lot more fun to be had with this Clone Trooper than the B-1 Battle Droid. B-1 Battle Droid cannot get into a pose like this. It's just not going to happen for him. Now to A New Hope's little 2-pack. I don't know which one is my favorite. We've got some older articulation here, but that could be the same could be said, excuse me, for the B-1 Battle Droid. We got an older body with him. We got a newer body with both the armored troopers. But we'll talk about the Rebel Trooper first, then we'll get to the Stormtrooper. Rebel Trooper comes with this removable helmet, and like I said, it's the same head sculpt pretty much as what we got before with this Rebel Trooper. I have gone through and actually painted the hair just to give him a little bit of differentiation, but for the most part, he's got the helmet on anyway, and the helmet can sit lower, so you can hide the eyes if you want to, or you can have it sit a little bit further back and have him, you know, being able to see past the visor. So if you're trying to hide his identity a little bit, you can do that. But I like this sculpt. I love the design for this Rebel Trooper. I think it looks pretty good. I would like more different designs, like a Sullust design. I would like, I don't know, some different designs for, like, similar to what Battlefront offered as far as trooper designs and different variations of the trooper design for more variety. The vest is a really nice sculpt. I always like this vest. It looks really good. It is removable. You can't take that off, so that's pretty nice. The sculpt of the pants look really good. The boots have a nice shine to them like they should. He does have a trigger finger with a vertical hinge joint on this side and a lateral hinge joint on that side, so he can, you know, pull out his rifle here. His pistol is usually what I call. But this is also one of my favorite designs from Star Wars as far as a blaster pistol goes. And you can have him two-handed. You can have him look down the sights if you want to, which we've seen in the movie, them two-handing this blaster. And you can have him look down the sights because it does have a scope on it. So it'll work for him. And you can put his helmet back on too. Kind of similar to how they were waiting for the Stormtroopers to come in and the first Star Wars movie, A New Hope. Well, now it's been called A New Hope now, but Episode 4. There you go. Looks good. Or you can have him stand at attention, look that way, look this way, have him kneel. Let's do dynamic pose. Crazy dynamic pose. Pew, pew, pew. Off the shoulder hit. Pew, pew. And then we can have him kneeling if you want to. Let's get that, work that ankle. And there you go. It's just that simple to get him to move around and do stuff. So very simple, effective, older body, like I said. Double jointed knees with pins. No pins up top for the arms, which we're pretty much used to. But, I mean, I guess I don't mind double jointed knees as long as they do their job and like they're supposed to. And I don't mind single jointed knees as long as they do their job and as they're supposed to. So there is the Rebel Trooper. I like the blue for the shirt up top. Like I said, I do like the sculpt of that. We do have some paint for the belt buckle. And then we have clearly a painted head. So a little bit more budget went into this guy with a painted helmet and then the little antenna coming off the side of the helmet, which is a nice gunmetal gray. Plastic, 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 plastic for the hands, obviously. Plastic for the pants. I couldn't think of the word pants. My good Lord. And then we have some painted boots. So that's nice. I like that. As far as the Rebel Troopers articulation does go, oh, we also have some painting on the DH-17. So that's nice. I'll do it with the helmet off. The head can swivel at a full 360 rotation if you needed to. He is on a old... Oh, no, wait. Is he on a ball peg joint? He is on a ball peg joint, which is pretty nice. And it's a 2... Is it? Yeah, I think it is. Where I think the old one... I think this is a new neck. So the old one only had hinge joints, I believe. If I can compare it with the old one. Let's see if they did update that. And maybe I'm just wrong. No, it's on a ball peg. Okay, so he's always on a ball peg. My mistake. Quickly corrected myself. But there's not a whole lot of turkeys there, so no gobbles. The arms can go up about that far in a T-pose. Arms can go down. Full 360 rotation in the arm if you needed to. Single bend at the elbow, swivel at the elbow, swivel at the wrist, lateral hinge joint, vertical hinge joint. He does have a swivel at the waist with the diaphragm. He can crunch back nicely. He can crunch forward. He can tilt side to side. He can do the splits. Legs can go forward. Legs can go back. Upper thigh swivel. Double jointed pinned knees. And there it is, pretty much, like I said, touching his butt almost. And then pointy toe, pointy heel, ankle pivot, and 2 peg holes, and a partridge and a pear tree, as we always do. With the helmet on, it's essentially the same. You can swivel a little bit, pretty much the same. It's just a little bit of the chin pad kind of gets in the way, but that's pretty much it for the Rebel Trooper. He also does come with the Death Star plans, which they all have come with. I don't know if he really needed to come with this, but did come with the original figure, so I guess I'm not going to really complain about it too much. He can hold that in his other hand very well, much better than, whoa, he just drop-kicked the Stormtrooper. So get on my way. I got these plans to deliver. And then the blaster can just holster very nicely and tightly in there. And let's do the shake test. Nothing's coming out. Nothing fell off. Good to go. We'll put him in the back here. There we go. All right. So let's pick our Stormtrooper up. Let's bring him in. Let's talk about him. He is a nice sculpt. It is a much nicer sculpt. I got a little bit of battle damage here, which I don't know what the heck that's from. I just opened this up, and I guess it's a little bit of a defect right there. I don't know if you guys can even see that, but there's a little black line going across. It's not the end of the world, but I think it's a scratch or some sort. It's, like I said, it's okay. This is the much improved Stormtrooper that we got. The head, I want to say, I think while it's a really good Stormtrooper, it's definitely better than the double jointed elbow and knee Stormtrooper that we originally got from all the way in the beginning of the line with the Sand Trooper. But I gotta say that I can already see, for some reason, like I feel like there's a little bit of yellowing going on right here. It might not be showing up on camera, but it's a little bit light yellowing compared to what's up here. I don't know if you guys can see that differentiation between the lower torso and the upper torso, which is articulated, but there's a little bit of color variation there, and I don't think it's intended. The heads on these new guys are a little bit smaller, and if you do compare to the Clone Trooper, you can see the size of the head is far more proportionate, I think, to the Clone Trooper. And maybe a big part of that is because there's a head underneath here, and it's supposed to be able to fit a helmet over a head that's supposed to be in a scale with him, where this is just a bucket head, essentially. So it would be nice if we could get a resized head, maybe a little bit larger, to meet the body a little bit better, but I'm not going to nitpick too much, really. It's still a solid looking figure. I like all the armor. It's pretty much just like very shiny plastic. So that's nice. And then for the back, we have some sculpting here on the back of the armor where he holds his thermal detonators right here on the back. There's a little bit of painting going on there. And then painting for the bottom of the feet for the black, and a little bit of doodads right here on the lower portion. The helmet has the most paint going on. You got some blue right here with some black lines, and we got some gray right there with some black lines, and some more gray up top, and then the black line going across the brow. Some more silver or some gray paint here and here with some line work. As far as his articulation does go, his head can swivel, full 360. His head can look up about that far, that's it, and down. It can pivot side to side. We got jive turkeys. Oh yeah, we got some good gobbles up in here. And then the arms can go up. Very tight jointed arms as far as that hinge goes. So right there, as you can see, right there, that's about T-posed right there. And then they can go down. Full 360 rotation in the arm if you needed to do that. He does have butterfly joints, which are really well done. This one's a little bit loose on mine, but it's not too bad. And then the arms can go down on both sides. There we go. Single jointed elbow, way more than 90 degrees, which is what you need. Swivel at that elbow as well. Swivel at the wrist. He does have a lateral hinge joint on this side and a vertical on that side, so very nicely done. Crunch back, crunch forward, swivel at the diaphragm, tilt side to side. Legs can go forward, and this is a nice pliable plastic for this piece on his belt. Legs can go back very nicely and very naturally looking. Upper thigh swivel, single jointed knee, more than 90 degrees, swivel at that knee. We've got a pointy toe, pointy heel, ankle pivot, 2 peg holes, and the old partridge in a pear tree. He does come with only his E11 blaster, which is right here. I think this is a newer sculpt because I don't remember this piece sticking out as far. I don't know if that's what is supposed to be like essentially a magazine sticking out. That's what I was like, oh, there's a magazine sticking out. And then we have this kind of, I don't know, maybe some sort of rangefinder or whatever. But it's a nicer sculpt, I want to say, from the previous offerings that we've got. But he also does not have a holster. So no holster for this one. And that's probably accurate, maybe, to A New Hope. So maybe that's why they didn't add that in. But he gets really good range of motion holding that rifle. And he can look down the sights nicely as well. There you go. So no issues there. The whatever this piece is, I'm just going to keep calling it a rangefinder because that's what I associate it with, or maybe a laser, but it's not. We all know it. It's just a Star Wars-ism. So there's that. And like I say, he can go neutral. He can do a lot of things. He can stand at attention. But really good range of motion, nice articulation here. Don't have too many issues with this. Like I said, this is just a trooper builder pack. So straightforward, simple by design, simple by thought process, and it's just guys that are probably going to be standing there for you, possibly doing big battle scenes and such. So I do quite like it, and I'm going to go ahead and put the lighter antennas back on my B1 battle droid so he can stand a little bit easier. Just a little bit easier. But there you go with the B1. Let's see if he'll stand. He's leaning. I shouldn't be standing him like this. I should be working those ankles, which I'm probably going to have to do. So, oh, there's a freaking dog hair on there. I don't even let my dogs in my collection room, but there's always a dog hair somewhere. Yeah, see. Oh, the frustration of the B1 battle droid, getting him to stand and keeping him there. It's like some of them I actually had to glue the ankles because they're just so poorly loose. Overall, with these two sets, I think they are a solid offering. I would definitely give them a 2 thumbs up. If you don't, especially if you don't have any of these, especially the 2 newer bodies. I believe this is the 2020 Stormtrooper, and that's a 2023 Clone Trooper. I think this is a win. If you're trying to troop build, I think it's a win across the board. You can never have, I think, too many troop builders. Everyone collects differently, but some people have hundreds of these figures, and some people have, like me, maybe 5 for a squad, and that's about it. And that's all I really need, essentially. So, I don't know. Solid offering, very simple, and I think it works. So that's going to be pretty much it for me. Let me know, did you guys pass on these sets? Are you going to pick them up? Do you already have them pre-ordered? Do you already have them? But let me know in the comments below in that beautiful place for discourse. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Like I said, please subscribe to the channel, not channel, but please subscribe to the channel. It takes 2 seconds to do, and it's free, and it does help the channel grow. If you do enjoy the content, please leave a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you didn't like the content. That helps too. And let me know in the comments below what you guys thought. And I will see you guys on the flip side.